All right. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hold on just a second. Let me get this. All right. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. All right. Let me see. Y'all, it's always something. They say, don't use what you use StreamYard. That's what they say. And then I do it. And then now I'm all discombobulated. But it's all good. We're going to get it together one day. Someday. We're going to get it together. Okay. All right. And show cam and hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Thumbs down if you cannot. If you reading lips and what have you, please let me know because this is not, we're not supposed to be reading lips or what have you. So let me know. But if you can hear me for those, okay, great. Thank you so much. Y'all, someday it's gonna flow properly. They told me, hey, you should use StreamYard, it's better. Y'all, it's not. I'm not liking it so far. And I guess because I'm used to using the other platform, even though the other platform started to not do so well for me, but it allowed me to play my theme music. It allowed me to show a countdown. It allowed me to do way more than what StreamYard is allowing me to do. But here we are. So, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get right into the topic of discussion, which, if you saw the title, you know what we're about to talk about. You guys, this topic is it's so sad. When I first saw it, I just saw it maybe about a week ago, and it was when I was researching the other family that was suing the other funeral home. I came across this one, and I was like, "Wait, what? When did this happen?" And it actually happened the end of last year, but I believe the suit came about recently, so it's been on the news. And you guys, this is it's so sad. It's a situation that I would hate to be in, or my funeral home to be part of, because this is one of the worst things that can happen. I mean, the first family suing because of the body being in a poor condition is one thing, but then for you to have a loved one mix up, that's like a totally another yeah, another situation. And it's unfortunate, and it happened out of New Jersey. I don't know what's going on with the states, the New Jersey, New York. I don't know what's going on. But just a little breakdown before I show you the video. A New Jersey family was laying their 93-year-old mother to rest when they say they were told the body of the woman in the casket was not their mother. Wow. The family is now suing the funeral homes that were involved for a whopping $50 million. 50, 50 million. The lawsuit claims loss of right to interment, negligent infliction, um, no, negligent infliction of emotional distress, intentional infliction of emotional distress, battery, and that's for mishandling the body of the deceased, and breach of contract, to say the least. Um, how? How could something like this happen? And I know that's what you guys are saying. How in the world could a mortuary get get that wrong? I'm gonna break that down in just a minute. But I'm just gonna read the scenario to you all. So that means I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. So y'all know I'm squinting over here. I can't see. But I'm gonna read the scenario to you all, okay? So I'm not gonna say the names. I'm just gonna say part of the names because I'm not about to butcher people's names. Um, but here we go. When Kim, that's the last name, 93, died at her daughter's home in New Jersey. She called the funeral home, the daughter called the funeral home in nearby Ridgefield, where 30% of the population is of Korean descent. According to the Census Bureau, they were hoping to arrange a funeral and burial in accordance with Korean tradition, according to the lawsuit. So this is a non-black family, you all. This is a Korean family that this happened to. After an open casket funeral at their mother's church, the children gathered around a gravesite to see her laid to rest. As the casket was lowered into the grave, the funeral director suddenly interjected, ordering the cemetery employees to lift it back out and return it to the hearse. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I'm as the family, thinking as the family, could you imagine your loved one being, you watching them being buried, and then all of a sudden the funeral director stops everything and tells them to stop everything and take your loved one out of their burial location? I couldn't imagine. There had been a mix-up, you guys. The director explained the funeral home had placed the body of another woman with the same last name into their mother's casket, complete with their mother's clothes and dentures. The family said, this is what the family said. So her 3 children and son-in-law allege in the suit that the funeral home was negligent and careless in putting the wrong body into their mother's casket. This was back in November. So one of her daughters fainted on site when the casket was pulled out of the ground. I couldn't imagine. That was, I mean, they're already grieving, so it's already a traumatizing situation. Like I said, I don't care. She was 93 years old. My grandmother was 89, and I'm still grieving to this day. Literally on my way here today, I was talking about to myself out loud in my car. Like, I kept saying, I can't believe my grandmother is not here. It's just so surreal to me. Like, she's not here. I can't hug her. I can't kiss her. I can't talk to her anymore. It's just so surreal to me. And I guess, because seeing as though, I just made 43. Yay. I just made 43 on Wednesday. And I had my grandmother for almost 43 years of my life. So to not have her anymore is like so surreal. So I couldn't even imagine her kids, what they were going through, what they were thinking, and all of that. Already it's the emotional time, and then this is happening. So the deceased, they said, was a very religious woman. She wanted her passing to be celebrated at her church, and that didn't happen. In the casket was another woman who was represented by that same funeral home. And they claim that it was her. Now, we're going to get into how this could possibly happen, but at the time, the funeral director arranged for the body to be picked up when she passed away and met with the family the following day to discuss the arrangements of what she wanted, how she wanted to be dressed, and all of that. But when the casket arrived for the funeral 2 days later, Kim had, 2 days later, at the church that she had long attended and asked for the funeral to be held, it contained the body of another person, another woman who was being held at the funeral home, but was not related to the family in no way. The daughter, was given the chance to view her mother's body shortly before the funeral. She told the director that the body did not appear to be her mom's. They know what their mama looked like. So she looking like, wait, doesn't look like my mother. And the funeral director responded with a very clear expression of denial and dismay, and, tried to rationalize the appearance, saying that the embalming and the makeup process must have, altered the body's appearance in a way. You don't know. I'm just going to be honest. If that was me in that situation, not knowing or haven't seen the deceased before prior to the service, then yeah, that would be my honest response too. Like, well, maybe, it's the makeup, maybe, after embalming, because sometimes whatever you pass away from could cause your appearance to change slightly, but not dramatically, that not dramatically to the point where you're like, is that my loved one? I don't know. But sometimes they gain weight. Sometimes they lose a whole lot of weight. It's just, it depends. But in this case, I believe she passed from natural causes. So I don't know. I'm trying to give the funeral home the benefit of the doubt, but the one of the things that I see that was wrong is the fact that they were given the opportunity to view their loved one right before the service. We don't do that. We try to allow you to have at least 24 hours before the service to come and approve the loved one beforehand. So that way there is no mistakes like this to where it's too late to really fix it. You know what I mean? It's kind of too late when the loved one is in the casket at the funeral. It's kind of too late at that point. Yeah. So I'm just going to read on, and then I'm going to show the video, the news footage. So they made her up and led the family to believe that this is your mother. She looks a little different while she's passed, but this is your mother. So the family thought, well, okay, we're not sure this is mom, but you're the expert, so we trust you. We're going to trust what you're saying. So yeah. Oh my God. I said that in another video. The family is trusting us. They're trusting that we know what we're talking about, that that we're not going to make this type of mistake. So we trust you. That's some powerful words right there. The funeral went on as planned, and the casket was loaded into a hearse to travel to a cemetery. The family later learned that during the funeral director had called and texted the other family. He called and texted the other family, the daughter of the other deceased, and about her mother's identifying features. And the daughter sent back several photos. As the procession traveled to the cemetery, the funeral director called the daughter of the 93-year-old and told her that if she was not sure the body was her mother's, they should turn all the cars around without explaining further. So she did not explain why she didn't explain what she just learned. She just said, hey, if you really don't feel like that's your mom, then maybe you should turn the cars around, and maybe you shouldn't go to the burial site. But the daughter, she confused. She like, wait, what are you talking about? You assure me that this is my mom, so yeah, we're gonna go on to the burial. What do you mean? So didn't tell her, hey, we just found out that they may not be your mom. Y'all, they went to the burial site. They got all the way to the burial site, y'all. 30 minutes into the graveside service, the funeral director pulled up a photo on her phone of a body that was at the funeral home and showed it to the daughter. And she goes, that's my mom. So this is what happened, y'all. Funeral director is feeling a little uneasy at this point because everybody is saying that did not look like their loved one. This is not my loved one. This is not my friend. This is not so. So at this point, the wheels are turning probably in her head like, wait a minute. Maybe I need to make sure. I need to verify. And so she calls the funeral home, allegedly. She calls the funeral home and she goes, hey, do we have another deceased with the same last name? Sure enough, they did. Okay, can you send me a picture of her? They sent a picture, and it's of the lady that the funeral is going on right now. It's her. So he shows she shows, it was a female director. She shows the picture to the family, and they're like, wait, that's my mom. So wait a minute. If that's my mom, who is this? Y'all, I can't make this up. This really happened. So without explanation, the funeral director directed the cemetery workers to remove the casket from the grave. As family members looked on in astonishment, you guys. Can you imagine? The funeral director later met with the family and informed them that the body, that the wrong loved one had been dressed in their mother's clothing, then presented at the funeral and for the burial. So the funeral director later acknowledged to the family that the funeral home had placed their mother's dentures under a pillow beneath the other loved one's body, despite having a full set of teeth of her own. Right there should have been, wait, hold on. Why do we have a set of dentures, but she has a full set of teeth in her mouth? Right there, that should have been a sign to them. Yeah. So the funeral director arranged an urgent funeral with the correct body the next day, but it could not be held at their mother's church like she wished. That was her wishes, for her to have her service at her church. Now, they had the service at her church. It just wasn't her there. She wasn't there. So it wasn't able to have the service at her mom's church because they had other things going on at that facility that day. So several family members had already left. They couldn't even attend the service because they had travel plans that they couldn't change. So, y'all, how could this happen? How could this happen? That's what went through my mind when I was reading it and when I was looking at the footage. I was like, how could this happen, you guys? Number one, tags. You have to make sure when you pick up a loved one that you tag that loved one. Now, the toe tags, that the old school toe tags that they used to put over the toe, we don't do that no more. Why? Those are easy to get lost, easy to fall off and to get mixed up, because if two fall off and you got two loved ones, it's like any, many, miny, mo. Now, can't do that, right? So what we do, we use the sticker tags, the ones that they use at the hospital, the ones that tape on to your wrist, the ones they use for even like amusement parks and such like that. That's what we use for tags. Or they have some people use zip ties. Some people use the actual ones that button on. But yeah, we don't use the old school ones anymore. I know we don't. I'm not saying all funeral homes don't, but I know we don't, because it's easy to make that mistake. That's number one. Especially when you have people with the same last name. There's a lot of people with the same last name. Like, for instance, so for us, like what, Jones or Jackson or whatever. There's a lot of Jacksons, a lot of Jones. You can easily get that mixed up. So that's number one. Make sure you tag them upon pickup. You have to tag them upon pickup. Don't wait till you get to the mortuary to do it. No, upon pickup, tag them. Number two, you have to make sure that the family comes and approve, have an opportunity to come and see their loved one ahead of time. At least, if you can't do it 48 hours before time, do it at least 24 hours before time, because you don't want a situation like this where the family is saying, that's not my loved one. Now, I've heard in another funeral home where they had a situation where the family came in. The daughter didn't even have to get close to the casket. She said, that ain't my daddy. And they were standing there like, the people that were there to, that was allowed, there to, the funeral home representatives that were there with her didn't have a clue what they were like. Wait, what? And she said, that's not my daddy. It was like, yes, it is your daddy. She said, no, it's not my daddy. Very adamant about it. So what they do, they had to call the main person. They're like, they're saying that this is not their loved one. And he, what? Oh, I couldn't imagine. Thank the Lord we have never had that. Thank God. But I couldn't imagine that being the situation. But at least at the approval, you have time. It's better to get that person, to make the change. Whereas at the service, what you gonna do? You didn't dress this loved one in somebody else's clothes and everything. Man. It's a horrible mistake to be had. Now, that other funeral home explained that what happened was the tagging. I think they said either the drivers mistagged at the coroner's office, because both cases were picked up from the coroner's office at the same time, and I believe either the transport company mistagged them. I just can't for the life of me imagine that the coroner's office mistagged them, both of them. I don't think that happened. I really believe that the transport team mistagged them, because that's a huge coincidence that both cases were brought out and was mistagged. No. Yeah. So no, I believe that the transport team that they had pick up mistagged the loved ones at the time of pickup. And so that's how that mistake happened at that other funeral home. But yeah, the stories I've heard, I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to do better. It just helps me to make sure that our stuff is right. Our team knows what to do. And yeah, I just start putting other stuff into place, implementing other stuff into our procedures and policies, so that way it does not happen to us. But that's another thing. That's number 2. Make sure that you have that family come and approve their loved one ahead of time, not the day of the service. Now, sometimes you get a family to say, oh, well, I'm not going to be available to come the day before or at the scheduled time. It's okay. I'll just see them at the service. Now, we just tell them, okay, that it's at your own risk, ma'am or sir. It's at your own risk, because we allow you that opportunity to give us the corrections, make any changes that need to be made or anything. So it's definitely I trust you, but okay, no problem. It's totally up to them. It's at their own risk. And we explain that to them. So you do get that. And I don't know if that was the situation in this case or not. I don't know why the family was not able to view their loved one ahead of time. I don't know the circumstances behind that. But yeah. Number 3. What was my third point? The funeral director. Once they said, hey, this is not my mom. Not this don't look like mom. This is not my mom. And and for the funeral director to assure them that this is their mom, that was a mistake, huge mistake, because what they should have done is said, okay, can you tell me any identifying features that could help us to, prove to you that this is your loved one? Because I want to make sure that you're sure that you're you receive the closure that you need to assure you that this is your loved one. That's what I would have done. Yeah. But they did not. They assured them instead that this is their loved one and tried to convince them of such. And that huge no. But as the service progressed and everything, and they kept hearing that this doesn't look like her. This is not her. This is it. I know the wheels started to turn. It was like, wait a minute, hold on. Hey, do we have another one with the same last name? This could be the other person. Oh my gosh. And guess what? The other person was 20 years younger. 20 years younger. So they like, not only does this not look like my mom, she looks younger, a lot younger than my mom. Y'all, too much. Terrell says, sound like a funeral home they used to be located. Terrell. Terrell. Terrell, the what is that? The Corliss? Terrell, yep. They got shut down for that. Oh my God. See, that's why we small, we humble, but we try to do everything right. I don't care. We're not trying to have them kind of make those kind of mistakes. Thank you, Latasha. Thank you so much. And thank you, Betty. I don't think you're on here right now. Oh, yeah, you are. But thank you guys. Thank you so much to all my mods. I love you guys so much. I was reading all the comments from the last live, and I appreciate you guys. Yes, please thumbs up this video if you like this content. And I'm about to get into this video. I hope it worked. Pray, Lord Jesus. I don't know if I'm going to be using StreamYard again, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see if I could do this. Oh no. This. Okay. And okay. No, that's not gonna work. Hold on. All right. Can you see this on the screen? You can. Good. All right. Let's get into this video.
30, just a horrible, just tragic mix-up coming at probably the worst of time, right in the middle of a funeral.
A New Jersey family was laying their 93-year-old mother to rest when they say they realized the woman in the casket was not their mother. Now they're suing for $50 million. News 4's Erica Byfield live from Fort Lee to explain. Erica.
Hi there. Yes, well, we met with several of the family members today, and they kept asking us this question: how does this happen? They say this experience has been an absolute nightmare. They tell us that it was back in November of 2021 when their loved one, 93-year-old Jim Kim, died in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey. We have a picture of the graveside service that was actually held in Westchester County in New York. The casket got lowered into the ground, and right after that, minutes later, it came back up. The family says that's when the funeral director of Central Funeral Home of New Jersey, which also goes by Blackley Funeral Home, admitted to the big mistake, that the wrong person was actually in that casket. It solidified with several.
Yeah, you can hear it now. Okay, guys, can you see it now?
Because that funeral was actually open casket at the church. They say that they told the funeral director earlier that they didn't think that that person looked like Kim, but she didn't react. The woman in that casket was actually 20 years younger than Kim, and she had her own teeth. Kim actually wore dentures. This week, the family decided to file a lawsuit for $50 million against Central and Blackley Funeral Homes. They say that the people who work that facility failed to follow their own policies that include immediately tagging bodies to ensure proper identification. Also, they said the funeral home never actually told the other family about the mix-up, so they did. The 93-year-old was eventually buried a day later, but it wasn't the specialized church service that her kids had hoped for her. Her daughter told us that the experience still haunts her.
So I feel very sad and angry that we couldn't accomplish her final wish, that she wanted to say bye to us at the church.
The owners of those two funeral homes have not gotten back to us. We've reached out to them several times. We're still waiting to hear back. The Kim family also tells us that the funeral home tried to cash their $9,000 check for its services, but they actually decided to stop payment on that check. They did tell us that they got a verbal apology from the funeral homes, but they say that is not enough, and that is why they're now suing for $50 million. Erica Byfield, News 4, New York.
Yo. So You could see it though, right? You could see it. Okay. All right. I didn't even remember about the part where they tried to cash the check. You guys, even after this mix up, you tried to cash the check. No, the check should have just been, you know what? No, we're not going to charge you. I mean, apologize upon apology. I would have cried. I told my staff, I said I would have probably number two'd on myself and everything else. Could you imagine? I was telling Susie, I was like, could you imagine that being John at a service and the family saying this is not their loved one, and maybe I'm not around, right? And he's there by himself, and they're insisting this is not my loved one. I couldn't imagine. He would probably be blowing my phone up. Miss Ray, Miss Ray, Miss Ray. They talking about this is not their loved one. This is oh my God. I would have, me as a director would have freaked out. Like, what do you mean? Another tip is I tell my staff, whoever you're working with, whatever family you're working with, make sure you know what their loved one looks like. Some of them are are scared of the loved ones. Yes, they're in this industry and they're scared of the loved ones, but we breaking them of that. They getting better. Not Susie. Susie not scared of nothing. But yeah. So, but I said, when I said that to them, to the counselors, I said, you guys have to make sure that you know what their loved one looks like. You're able to verbalize to them, hey, your mom or your dad or your loved one, whomever it is, maybe their remains are not in great condition, and you have to explain to them what the condition of their remains are, or just make sure that you know who they are, not just looking at pictures, because what's going to happen is, especially if you end up being on that service and they're telling you that that's not my loved one, you can safely say, oh, that's your loved one. We had to do X, Y, and Z to do, to get them to look decent or whatever. You can explain with assurance, with certainty that this is their loved one, and not out the side of your neck saying that this is your loved one. I assure you, during, maybe they changed during their appearance because of the embalming and No, know what you're talking about. Okay. Know what you're talking about. Look at the loved one ahead of time. If you don't want to physically go look, we take pictures. The embalmer takes pictures before and after embalming. So you can look at that picture. We keep it in a file. Look at that picture. Another thing is, you're supposed to make sure that family sends you a picture of your loved one. I don't know if that happened. I'm not for sure, but I can't imagine them sending over a picture and the person that's dressing and casketing the loved one is looking at that picture and looking at that loved one and seeing the same thing. If the family is saying that, there was a difference, there was a pretty significant difference in the way they looked. So yeah, we don't all look alike, y'all. All Black people don't look alike. All Koreans don't look alike. All Hispanics don't look alike. We don't all look alike. So make sure that the family sends you a picture. I'd be on my family. I still haven't received a picture. Still haven't received a picture. And sometimes, yeah, it'd be on them. But, as long as you do your job. Now, if they come, they never provided you a picture and you've been hounding them about a picture, and they come and they say, oh my goodness, that's not the way they looked, or that's not their color, or that's not the color lipstick they wore, that's not the way they wore their hair. And all you can say is, hey, well, did you provide us a picture? Oh no, I didn't get around to doing that. Okay, well, this is why we allow you an opportunity to come in ahead of time, so that way we can make the necessary adjustments. But that's all. It's also the reason why we ask for a recent picture, not no glamour shot from 50 years ago, but a recent picture of your loved one so that we can make sure that this is your loved one, make sure that your loved one look like themselves. And yes, we don't want no smoke. We don't want these kind of situations. Over here at Exquisite, I'm gonna let you know right now, we don't have no $50 million. I'm just gonna let you know we don't have it. So, no, but we do have insurance, but it's not $50 million worth. I don't know what those funeral homes are gonna do, but the right thing to do is just they probably gonna, hopefully they don't lose their funeral homes because of this mistake. But if they do, it would be it would be deserved. I can't even yeah, it would be deserved. Yeah, I would have been speaking in tongues. I would have been, well, I'm sorry. I would have been crying, everything. Cause man, I put myself always in my family's shoes. So I couldn't imagine being in that situation as the family. This is not my loved one. And then to be assured that this is my loved one. And then we go on with the service all the way to the point where we get to their burial site. They get lowered into their plot. And then you're told, sorry, this is not your loved one. We made a mistake. Oh no. No. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear none of that. I'm at that point, I'm not understanding. Yes. No. I'm not understanding at all, because you assured me that this was my loved one. They probably was touching on that person, probably was kissing on that person. Oh my gosh. Just thinking like that, you guys, thinking like that, you're touching and you're mourning over someone that's not even your loved one. I can't even imagine. Y'all, we gonna take some calls right now. I'm gonna hope and pray that this works again. Let's see if this works, but I'm gonna put it on the screen so that you guys can call in. And oh Lord, let's see. Listen, y'all, this is too much. Is it that? No, it's this show. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Really? So that ain't gonna work. All right, here we go. We're gonna take some calls right now. We're gonna see what y'all talking about. Y'all don't leave me hanging. Yeah, I know. I took it off. It's a delay. But thank you. I appreciate that. It's a delay. But yeah, don't leave me hanging. I want to hear from y'all. All right, here we go. Hello, caller. Thank you so much for calling.
Hey, how you doing, Ray?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. This is Darren. That is such a travesty for that family.
Yeah, it is. You said your name was Darren?
Yeah.
Darren, where are you from?
I'm from the Los Angeles area.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right. But okay, so what are your thoughts on this topic?
Oh, well, I'm a funeral director also.
Oh, okay.
And that, for the funeral home to allow that to happen is an embarrassment to the industry.
I agree.
And they should have actually, did the proper identification, because like you said, we don't use the old toe tags anymore. We use the bands around, and we write it down on a Sharpie.
Right.
And I also, when I do removals, if the family is still at the residence or at the hospital, I make sure they're around, so I make sure that I have the correct decedent, so there's no mistakes when I take the removal and bring them back to the funeral home. So I can understand how they made that a mistake. It's just, you have to be very careful in this business, because sometimes a lot of the next of kin, when their loved one passed away, they may not have seen them for years as well.
That's true.
And I know you've seen that as well.
That's true, yeah.
And you just have to be very careful. I just feel really bad for both parties in this case, because I don't want to say it was neglect, but they should have really dotted their I's and crossed their T's in this case.
Darren, you are so right. And you bring up a topic that actually happened to us. We had a family that their loved one passed away, and she got really, really, really tiny. She lost a lot of weight. Now, the people here that was locals seen her, knew, they knew the change. They knew that she lost a lot of weight. So we had to ship her remains to another state. And when she got there, the people there hadn't seen her in a while. So they said that we totally jacked her up. She don't look the same. She looked different, blah, blah, blah. And it was because of the fact that she had lost a lot of weight. Her sons who were here local, they said, no, that's mom. We approved her. She looks like mom. You guys hadn't seen her in a while, but it was a whole big to-do before the sons got there, because they thought that we actually, before we shipped their loved one, did something to her. And I'm like, no, we shipped her after, after we had the service, we shipped her the way she was. And I mean, I think you guys saw last year, I said something about this. I'm like, I asked the question, does the body get ruined during shipping? I've never had that to happen, but this family is calling saying like she exploded or something in the casket. Like she just looked drastically different, and come to find out it was because the family there hadn't seen her in a while. Because when the sons finally got there, they looked at her and said, oh no, this is mom. This is the way she looked. But great point. Where are you at? Where are you a director at?
I'm in Inland Empire area.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's the other thing I always tell other directors to do is use your camera. So when I do removals, I always make sure I take pictures of the decedent where they passed away, whether it's in the residence or the hospital, and I take another picture once I get to the mortuary. And then after that, when the family's doing, I take another picture. So there is no, absolves me of getting any trouble, because a lot of times families will sit there and say, oh, they didn't leave here looking like that.
Right.
So you take pictures. You got digital cameras now, and you take pictures.
You gotta take pictures. Darren, we on the same page, Darren, because I do that now. I said no from now on, but it took trial and error for us to get to that point before I was like, hey, no, we need to start taking pictures of everything, before and after embalming, before and after dressing, take pictures and have the family sign it at the approval. This is what my mom looked like. So yes, I'm signing that she looked good and I seen her, blah, blah, blah. So if anything, they want to take me to court, I'm going to say, look, they signed this picture. This is what they look like. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I had one case about 20 years ago, and I did a removal at a hospital there in the LA area. And I know I took the first call and I got the name down and everything. So I called the hospital, called the nursing director, the nursing on call. And I said, I'm coming here to do the removal. I'm coming to the hospital to do the removal. And she said, yes. Okay. So when I get there and I go to the room, and the family had told me what room their loved one was in, and I looked and I said, wait a minute, this name is different than what's on the wrist bracelet that they had from the hospital.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and it also was a gender change. So.
Oh my God.
So I told the nurse, I said, are you sure this is, and they said, yes. So I immediately called the family and I said, well, I need you to come here to the hospital to make a positive identification. And when the next of kin had gotten there, now mind you, I didn't know they hadn't seen their loved one in about 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so when they came there, they said, this is not so and so, you know. And I was like, well, I don't know. You know, I just got here, and the loved one had a gender change operation.
Oh, shut up.
The name was a female name. He was a male at first and changed over to a female and changed the name.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that story, Darren. That had to be very interesting because wait, you were called to pick up a male and you got there and it was a female. And not knowing that the male had a gender change. Oh my gosh. So the family wasn't aware that it was a transgender either, that they became trans.
No, they weren't. Right, because he,
my God.
So this is himself and the family, and I guess he had been talking to a third party, talking to the family, letting them know how he was doing. I guess over the years, the loved one had told me, and he never revealed where he lived or anything like that. So once he was on, once that loved one was on their deathbed, they decided to call, and this is what happened here. So I also tell you, people also make sure you find out, if you can, find out what the also known as AKA, because people check up on the different names and their birth names when they go to the hospital.
That's true. That's true.
When they rent apartments. So the business has definitely changed from 25, 30 years ago to now, because you see all kind of things now with social media, picture changes, gender change, and you just have to be really aware, have to be really careful and make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. But
all of them.
Thank you for the platform, and I'm here to share all kinds of information with everybody about this business, because it's still a very endearing business, and I really get a lot of satisfaction out of serving families.
Thank you so much, Darren, for serving. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you, Darren.
No, I appreciate you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Could y'all imagine? I couldn't imagine having to go, because I do removals too sometimes. I don't do them as often as I used to, but going to pick up a loved one, they have a male name, and then you get there and it's a whole female. You like, wait. And if the family, if they're estranged and, haven't seen their loved one in a long time, you could easily get that type of situation. Oh my God. Ooh, he did the right thing. He was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to come and verify because I'm gonna need you to come verify before I make this removal. Yes, Darren, you did the right thing. That would have been me too. I would have been standing there like, no, this is a whole female and I got a male name right here, so I need to make sure. I actually had kind of a similar situation, but it wasn't, kind of similar. I picked up the loved one, brought the loved one in-house. The embalmer came to embalm, and he called us and he said, is this loved one supposed to be male or female? And we were like, as far as I know, it's a female. He said, well, this person has a whole beard. Y'all, I about choked. I said, wait, what? Hold on. Because I'm the one that made the removal. So I'm like, wait, hold on. Now, mind you, when we make removals, we don't always, like if they're already in a body bag or wrapped at the coroner's office, we don't take them out and do all of that. We, as the removal service or as the mortuary going to pick up, we are trusting that the coroners are giving us the right person. They make us look at the numbers, the case numbers at the coroner's office, and at the hospital, they have us verify the tags. It's up to them to give me the right person. I don't know who so-and-so is. I don't know. We ask families to send us pictures, but they don't send us pictures that soon before removal. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but we don't go and examine the body and do all of that. I'm just going to let you know that. So when I got the loved one here and I picked up from the coroner's office, that specific case, got the loved one here, I'm like, hey, I'm certain that that's the loved one. So when he calls and goes, wait a minute, they got a full on beard and it's supposed to be a female, I'm like, wait, hold on, wait, what? He said, were they trans and all that? I'm like, no, I don't know. The mom kept saying her and she and this, and I'm like, I don't know. So come to find out, I had to have that conversation with the mom. No. Come to find out, the mom said to me before, make sure you shave her because I'm sure that she let herself go. And I didn't know what that meant until he called me and said that to me. And then it dawned on me, oh, that's probably why the mom said, make sure you shave her because I'm sure she let herself go. I didn't know what she meant by that. I was thinking maybe she think we about to do some grooming down there or something. I don't know what she, because I didn't know she meant her face. Yeah, but come to find out, the young lady, some people do have that genetic problem where they do grow facial hair as a woman. So that was her problem. But yeah, we didn't know. I wish the mom would have explained that to me. So, when we got her here and opened up and went to embalm and had a full on beer, we would have understood. Oh, okay. Yeah, she told us. But yeah. So thank you, Darren. Anybody else want to call me before I wrap it up today? Anybody else want to call me? What about the picture you take? DeAndre, what does that mean? What about the picture you take? I look at the tag when I go to the medical examiners. Anthony Thomas. Yes. When you go to the coroner's office, you have to look at the tags. You have to make sure that the case numbers are the same. Don't just take, their word for it. Make sure that the case numbers are the same. But the coroners have gotten a lot tighter about, well, at least the LA coroners got a lot stricter on how they give bodies. Did I say that right? Whatever. I was looking for another word, but that's what came to me. How they give the loved ones to us. They make sure that we see the tag and they read the tag number back to us, and they read, we supposed to verify that is the loved one. So trade and bomber, Anthony. Okay. Wow. I wonder how the family received that. I'm trans, but my family's aware of everything, right? Ayana, oh my gosh. Could you imagine your family not knowing? Like, that person probably really struggled with, coming out to their family. And unfortunately, they passed away before they could get a chance to. And so the family was totally not aware. I couldn't imagine. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine my brother, who I've known as my brother all my life. Now, we lost touch for some years, and now, something happened to, Lord forbid, heaven forbid, something happened to them. And then we have to go and retrieve their remains, and they're a whole totally different person. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. What's going on? Oh, y'all asking about the classes. It's coming. It is coming. Y'all, it's a lot of work putting that mess together, but it's coming. Thank you for asking. Terrence says, hey. Wait, hey, GA. What's that? What's hey, GA? I work in a trade house, so I'm kind of spoiled. Okay, Anthony. All right. Thank you. Another caller. Hello, caller. Thank you so much for calling. You are live with ExquisitelyRay.
Hi, Miss Ray. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm such a fan. I got my 70-year-old parents watching you.
Shut up.
Like, we got our alert set up. We love you.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, Mom and Dad. How you doing? Tell me.
They're not here with me now. But they be watching your video.
Well,
I got alert.
I appreciate the love. I appreciate the love so much. What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Amir. I'm originally from Inglewood. I'm a Centinela baby.
Okay.
But I live in Bakersfield now.
Oh, wow. That's quite a change.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
I know. I've moved around a lot, like between LA and Atlanta, but my mom was born and raised here before we came here, but I was born in LA and I stayed here until I was 13 or 14, then moved to Atlanta, then came to Bakersfield.
Oh, okay.
But, I still got family there. I come and visit on the weekends and stuff, so it's not far, an hour and a half away. We're not far from the city.
Okay, Amir. So what are your thoughts on this topic?
Actually, I don't know if you could read the super chat when you were talking, but I was saying at the same time that local funeral home by you had that mix up, they had my sister's body a week before. And we talked about in my family, like, damn, we dodged a bullet like that. Maybe could have been us.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was crazy.
You know what? And if they were using those old school tags, like I mentioned before, if they were using that, I could see how that could easily happen. I mean, it's unfortunate and it should never happen, but I could see how it can happen. And I agree with Darren, how he feels for both sides, the family and the funeral home. And because being in the industry, you can understand being in the industry is like, oh my God, that's like our worst nightmare for, a family to say that their loved one was either not viewable to them, or there's a whole totally different person. So I couldn't imagine either side.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Because you were talking about like the lawsuit or whatever. I'm just curious, like, do funeral homes, like, do they legally have to carry insurance for something like that? Or do they usually carry? I'm sure it's not $50 million, but like, is that something that funeral homes do? I don't know if they get sued a lot or not, but I'm just curious, like, who's gonna pay that money when they have to settle and pay something?
Right. Now, to answer your question, it's not required, but it's definitely necessary to have. I don't know if you remember me talking about how we got hustled a couple of years ago. Yeah. That's when we got insurance, because we started talking to other funeral home owners and asking questions or whatever, and they said, wait, did you have insurance or what have you? And we were like, yep, we had insurance, but we didn't have the proper insurance that would take care of situations like that. So now we have the proper insurance, but it's not required, but it's definitely recommended to have.
That ain't the Hispanic counselor that jumped off on you, or is that the customers you had trouble with?
No, it was the Hispanic counselor. Look at you. Okay.
I'm telling you, I watched. I'm like, they got the beehive for Beyonce, the lambs for Mariah. I don't know. You gotta come up.
We gotta come up with something, right? Y'all think of something. Okay, I'm down with that. I'm down for that. I appreciate you so much, Amir. Thank you so much for calling. You want to shout out anybody before?
I want to tell you look good. Like you growing. You growing. You've been looking good. Keep it up.
Thank you, Amir. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for calling. Weekend, okay? You too. Bye. Oh, I'm glowing, y'all. And no, I am not with child. And no, I don't have a man. So no, that's not it either. So I don't know. It's just the glory of the Lord. I think that's what it is. So I appreciate my two callers, Darren and Amir. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate all of you guys for your love and support. All of my mods. Thank you so much. Latasha, Betty. I don't know who else is on here. But I appreciate you guys so much. If you have any other thoughts on this topic matter, please make sure to leave it in the comments. Please remember to be respectful of the loved one and their family, and keep that family in your prayers. Both families. I mean, that had to be traumatic for both sides. there's two families involved, you guys. It's not just the one. It's two families involved. We have no idea what the other family is doing. Don't know if they're suing or what have you either. Don't know if they were compensated or what have you. But that had to be traumatic for both families. And the funeral home, I'm gonna pray for them too. I'm gonna pray for them too. I know y'all probably like, no, don't pray for them. No, I'm gonna pray for them too, because I'm in this industry. I would hate for that to happen to me. Um, and it could happen without me even knowing or being personally involved. You know what I mean? It could, from the transport team. You got to make sure that you have the right transport team, because if they make those little mistakes, sometimes the transport companies don't care. They just do the bare minimum and they don't care. We'd be telling them to make sure. Oh my God, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Who is that gave me the super chat? Soul to Prosper. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. But we make sure to have them put the blocks up under them. They have to put their head, elevate the head, make sure that, you know, sometimes the blood or what have you rushes to their head if they are laying in a certain position for a long time, like say like this, with their face to the side, or if they leave their head too far back or whatever. Anything could happen to where that loved one is no longer viewable. How do you explain that to a family? So we're on them about putting the blocks up under them, making sure that they are tagged properly, making sure that they are in a safe place. If you're gonna leave them here on one of our gurneys, make sure that they're strapped onto the gurney. Anything can happen. We're in California. What happens in California, you guys? What type of what is it? What is it called? Disasters or whatever. What kind of disaster stuff that we have here in California? Earthquakes, right? We don't want the earth to quake, and then the loved ones are not properly secured. We cannot have that. We cannot explain that to a family. I don't care. I don't care if they knew everything, the whole building came down, whatever. They looking at the funeral home. How come you wasn't secure? How come my loved one wasn't safe and secure up in your place? You know that there's earthquakes here. I'm just saying, we got to do our due diligence to make sure that these families are taken care of, that their loved ones are taken care of, that they're well respected, and give them proper homegoing celebrations and such. Keep those families in your prayers, and like I said, show love and respect to them in the comments when discussing this topic. And that's it. Latasha said, check the casket, right? I'm going back down. Blah, blah, blah. So the pastor said, thanks for the, no, Latasha said, thanks for the super chat to Soda Prosper. Thank you. From the, oh, wow. Is that the fire department in New York City? Oh my gosh. Thank you. They love my channel. I appreciate that, Papa Smurf. That's right. She said earthquakes. That's right. All right. So subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like, give me a thumbs up. Please share this content if you like it and you think it's worthy. And that's it. Next week, I'm going to be addressing a certain person that wanted to come up and through and troll my channel and be up in my comments telling me what I should and should not do. We're going to talk about that next week. Stay tuned till the next time. I love you guys. Be blessed. Always check on your loved ones because you never know when it will be your last opportunity to. And I'm out. Mwah.